like say, right, like, what's it, had more quality than that. You know, that's just, that's.
I messed it up one night really badly. I'll just say that. I didn't record because I didn't put it.
That's a precedent.
I didn't put it go live.
And they-
Everything but that.
Next year.
I'll never
I
do
just
that
take
again.
this guy that.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Sometimes they leave me unattended.
Meeting of the Board of Education for March 17th to order.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together. We ask that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and discernment as we do the business of Hardee County Schools this evening. Help us to make good decisions that benefit all, Lord, and help us to keep our students in mind and put them first. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now we'll go with introductions. Leslie, maybe we can start with you.
I'm Leslie C. I'm a parent. Mandy Zark, I'm a parent. This is Annie Baldwin, she's a student.
Josh Lee.
Yeah, let's see.
Sarah Earl. Rebecca Lewis.
Emily Thorne. Lucy.
Jake Baldwin.
Jennifer Strouderman.
Warren Staggers.
Doug Hines.
Roy Harper.
Janet Rose.
Melvin Shook.
Dixie B.
Sean Collars.
Sheena Van Meter.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it and hope everyone has had a good St. Patrick's Day. And you wore green so you didn't get pinched. Uh-oh, I see a couple guys we could turn loose on here. Okay, our presentation, we have a student achievement recognition.
Yes, so I wanted to update you on after the second round of benchmarks, the growth from the first benchmark to the second benchmark. And Mrs. Kreitz completed the scoring for those, and I just wanted to show you what that looked like. We did not make copies for each of you simply because this is just one set of grade levels. That's what that looks like. So these are confidential. They have individual student names on them. But the way she does that, and I'll just kind of give everybody out there a glimpse too, is she takes each student, she calculates benchmark 1 to benchmark 2, and then you'll see if it's red, it says growth. So it'll either say growth or it will be blank if there's no growth. So she does that for reading and for math for K to 2. She does as a set, then she does 3 through 5, and then she does 6 through 8. Of course, our juniors only take the SAT once a year. Their benchmarks are calculated a little differently, but that's what that looks like. We had really good growth this time, and our Best of Hardee County is based upon growth, so it's not the highest scoring benchmarks, but the most growth accomplished from the first to the second, and then the second to the end. So the Best of Hardee County for we'll be moving our banners to the new schools will be as follows. In kindergarten, it's East Hardee Elementary. For first grade, it's Moorfield Elementary. Second grade, East Hardee Elementary. Third grade, East Hardee Elementary. And then 4th through 11th grade, all will go to Moorfield schools. And that is for reading. For math, kindergarten is East Hardee Elementary. First grade is Moorfield Elementary. Second and third grade are East Hardee Elementary. 4th through 10th grade all go to Moorfield, and then 11th grade for math goes to East Hardee. So congratulations to all of them. We'll be moving those banners that hang on the front of the schools as appropriate to the ones that needed to be moved. And I know that the principals were excited. I will say all schools showed really good growth, and we'll get you the total growth reports too. I will email these to you if you would like to look at them. Just remember that the students are confidential because they have individual names on them. But also, Dixie, I wanted to show you had asked about us being able to get the teachers the information so they could see who was close to being on benchmark. the teachers all get that. So they'll be able to immediately find their kids and tell right away. And that's how they can determine how close they are to being reaching that goal. So congratulations to all the schools for working hard. We've got some new winners we need to transfer over, which is good.
Okay. I guess next up is child nutrition updates. Rebecca,
Want us to
and
stand here?
Emily.
Just stand up here?
If you just stand up in front, right over by Jennifer, that would be great. That way our cameras can pick you up. Everybody's watching live. Thank you, ladies.
Stand over there.
Hello, good evening. Of course, I'm Becca Lewis, and I wanted to introduce you to the new Child Nutrition Director, Emily Thorne. She's already started, been here for a couple of weeks, and we're, getting her acclimated to a lot of different things. But there's some good things happening in child nutrition that we really wanted to discuss this evening. And I'm sorry, I put something in my mouth not thinking I'd be up here this early. First of all, the March 3rd to the 7th was National School Breakfast Week. During that week, there were different things that were done at several schools. One of the things was taste tests that we had. Some items, for example, were like a turkey kielbasa, and the kids really liked it. That was at East Hardy High School. We had the Fruit Loop waffles, which sounds really, sweet, but it's better than you think. Some of the kids really liked it. One thing that I like about the Fruit Loop waffles is that when I looked, because of the food dye bill that had come up, they have a natural dye in them. So they have natural fruit dyes in them. So that's one thing that, I thought was good about that. That was a big hit as well. We also had breakfast for lunch one day. The kids from the high school, especially in Moorfield High, had asked a couple of times about having breakfast for lunch. So we did, and it was a huge hit. They loved it over here as well. So we got really good kudos on that. That was an exciting week. We had some good things going on that week. Also wanted to, about the Primero program and the modules that we've purchased and that our cooks are working on. They've been into the inventory. They've been ordering through Primero. They've done the inventory program. All of these things up through production has saved them time. We're also looking at something else to save them time. It is it's Sonic Q is what the group is, but it's monitors on all of the freezers and the coolers in the kitchens, and I will let Emily talk about that. She will be leading that.
So it's really cool. Becca got the ball rolling and it got board approval a few months ago. It finally got shipped this week and we got them received. So we're really excited about that. As a refresher, they're going to be monitors. Right now, the cooks have to go in twice a day, morning and afternoon, to monitor every single freezer that they have, which is usually about 8, between fridges, freezers, the milk fridges, all the things they have to keep track of them. So it's going to be a major time saver because this is going to be continuous monitoring in each one of the fridges and freezers to keep constant monitor on their thermostats. And it's also going to be really great because it will help us with food loss if anything goes out of compliance, because we're looking at exactly who's going to get the alerts. Of course, it'll be myself getting some of them, but the principals, probably Josh, letting us know in real time as soon as we have something getting towards a temperature danger zone. So this is going to be a really big help both in time savers for the cooks because they're not going to have to be monitoring once we're really comfortable that they're staying. And I'm probably going to have them keep about a week or two that they're still monitoring, and then I'm checking that against what the digital system is telling me to make sure that it's reading 100% correctly. And it cost us about $8,000 for them. That was for 7 hubs, so 1 for each school, and then the freezer we have at the board office for 35 individual monitors, because even though we don't own the milk coolers, they're Gallagher's, we want them in the milk coolers, so we can be keeping an eye on those as well. And for our year subscription service, because we have to have a subscription service in order for it to be giving us these updates, us keeping a monitor of them. So the subscription service was about $2,300 for the year. That will be what our bill is moving forward once we get out of this first year. The kickoff call was with IT today. So it was on my way over, so I need to get with IT to see how that went. But that's when our subscription service starts, will be today. So we're really hopeful that it's gonna be a really great thing, a really great time saver for the cooks, and a really great mitigator of any potential food loss if anything goes out.
So, yeah, food loss.
Oh, yeah, easily. And, sorry, the cost itself won't come from the child nutrition program. It will come from a state matching grant that we get from the Office of Child Nutrition every year. So it's not going to be something that'll be pulled directly from child nutrition.
And we got a little bit extra funds this year. We got 5,000 we don't usually get, which almost completely paid for it. So that's gonna be wonderful.
Thank you.
Looking at revenue and expenses, I just wanted to give you an update. It looks like we're running similar to what we did last year, although expenses are about $100,000 less than they were last year. And a lot of that is attributed to, we bought a lot of equipment last year. This year, we have not done that. This year, we have a $1,300 garbage disposal, I believe at this school is what we've put in, and that's been it so far as equipment. We had a lot go down last year, and it was all old, so it needed replaced. But other than that, that's kind of where we're sitting right now. Any questions on anything?
Have you all had any cuts? You know, that the cuts are doing now, like with the education department stuff, has anything come down from the federal level?
We were told originally that we weren't going to get any equipment grants for this year, that we wouldn't be eligible for anything because there was no money. But one was sent out today. So when I've been trying to poke at the state and see what we can get, they did put into the USDA and it was approved to give us something. Now, what it's going to be, I really don't know. But we do need a couple of pieces of equipment at this point. So we'd like to be able to get them with grants.
A lot of your meals, that's reimbursed by the government, the federal government, correct?
Yes,
Have
it's
they given-
USDA.
Have they given you an update on what the next year's rate will be?
We have not. No, they haven't.
Think
done
it'll
that
change?
yet.
It usually bumps up a little bit.
It usually
I
does.
just wonder if it will.
Yeah, I don't know. And, we just don't know what's going to happen at this point. I guess it's kind of, we'll see. Yeah, hopefully nothing. Anything else
Do you have a meal count on your schools yet, or
Um,
how's that running?
the meal count.
I ran percentages today, so was looking at them year over year to give myself an idea of where we were. We're down in a lot of the schools. We're pretty flat on breakfast with the exception of Moorfield High. So I'm going to be looking at Moorfield High's breakfast because they're down fairly significantly. As far as lunches were mostly flat, and then a couple of schools were down. So meal participation is across the board down a little bit. So we're going to be looking into exactly why on that is. Is it the virtual students? Is it, I think attendance enrollment is about flat from what I was looking at last year. I think we're just maybe in the county, I don't know, 100 kids or so down. So that's really not a huge factor. So I'm going to be looking to see what the big drivers of what our participation, why it's down a little bit this year.
Could you, since this is the first time we've met you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you went to school? and where you
Absolutely.
worked?
So I'm a Grant County girl. My husband and I moved away about 8 years ago independently, and then we met. My educational background is I went to Pot State and got associates and a bachelor's degree in business. And I actually have an MBA from Shenandoah University where I worked as a financial aid counselor. My other background working is I'm a compliance girl, so I'm used to running federal programs. The last 5 years I was actually at a casino in Charlestown running their anti-money laundering and human trafficking programs. So I'm very used to highly regulated environments, and I am very, very excited about this opportunity and very excited to be home.
Do
My
you have,
husband and I moved back in September.
do you have a lot of blue and gold clothing?
I mean, a little bit.
Always give Sarah.
I went to Potomac State,
There
WVU.
you
Yeah,
go.
I've got some blue and gold. I've got some blue and gold. And my sister's kids went to Hardy County School, so I've been supporting Moorfield for years. But yeah, that's a little bit of background.
You want to tell them who your sister is? That'll probably help.
I'm Rachel Wormer's sister. So, yeah, and Grover Doling's kid.
Grover's her
Okay,
son.
Yeah.
all
And
right.
Rachel's her sister.
Any other questions?
Welcome.
Glad to have
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you all.
Well, and with that said, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to have been the Park and Fishing Director for the
Thank
past.
you. Thank you for your
9 years.
service.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You will, you'll enjoy your retirement.
Don't you have one more meeting you have to come to?
No.
Are you sure? I thought you had one more.
Okay, next on the agenda, there are no public comments this evening. The consent items,
Motion
to approve.
second.
have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and the consent items are approved 5-0. Under unfinished business, we have, attachment 8, which is the Hardy County expenditure by object. Sarah, you gonna help us out here, or?
The expenditure object report, for February, through the end of February. Nothing, out of the ordinary, really. Fairly on pace with last year, considering we moved the wages and salaries out of the ESSER funds, and it's fully, the remaining of, ones of those are coming out of the general fund now as well. But everything else is pretty much, on course as we expected it to be. I also have for you guys, if you don't have any questions about those numbers, I did the PEIA
Thank you.
comparison. You're welcome. We've been talking about the PEIA and discussing how it's increased over the last couple of years. So here's a comparison between 23 and 24. Each year, the state gives us an allocation where they pay on our behalf so much of the PEIA and the RHBT, which is a portion of the PEIA. It's paid at the same time. And then we have the expense of actually paying the PEIA and RHBT. So for 23, you can see the allocation that the state had on our behalf for RHBT was 150, almost 152,000. The allocation for PEIA was almost 1.5 million for a total allocation of 1,646,834. The expense that we had associated with that, one's the health insurance expense, the RHBT expense, and then also what we pay for retirees, was a total of $1,783,747. So out of pocket beyond what we received on our behalf from the state for that year was almost 137,000. Now, the other piece that you have to remember is all this is based upon that certified list that we do. So there's like a year, we certify that list October 1st, and then we don't get the funding for that until the next year. So it runs a year behind. Now, this would have been, our funding for FY23 would have been based on FY22's enrollment count and certified list. So at that point, we were probably about 15 people over during 23. So anytime you're over formula, over what we're supposed to be within based on the certified list, is going to cut into our cost above what we're, in PEI, we're actually, based on our certified list, we're actually reimbursed what folks have as far as PEIA. If you have family and I have single, like we actually get where the wages that we receive based on the certified list is an average of the state, average based on the number of positions. But the PEIA is actually reimbursed based on what each person on the list has. That's within our allowable number of folks, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So then the 2024, follow the same down through there, and you'll see that we actually came out ahead by 16,000. So whenever we did the certified list that year, either people changed, dropped family plans, dropped insurance, or changes were made, that we actually came out a little bit ahead for 24. And there may be a little bit of adjustment there with payables. At the end of June 30th, there's going to be some payables there, but those payables will also include spouse, like potential what the employees pay on their behalf as well. So it's hard to carve out the payable from the prior year. It's hard to flip-flop those around. So it may be off just a little bit because you're going to have a payable from the prior year that would have went in that year, and then a payable during that year going into the next year. So they may be off just a couple $1,000s here or there, but for the most part, this gives you an idea anyway of the last 2 years. And we can look at more years if you want to go back further. I was just trying to get something together to give you guys an idea.
So you think we're doing okay? I'm concerned the price of food, and I see these invoices that we paid for food, and it's like, oh my goodness gracious. Well, everything's expensive.
Everything,
but
yeah,
the
everything's
just kinda
increasing.
Jumps at us. Have you looked at any preliminary numbers on what we're gonna have to put into?
Child nutrition?
Mhm.
I have not. Becca was looking at those numbers today. She's currently on pace. I think she had 30 or 40,000 less in revenue, but like 105,000 less in expenses. So we would currently be looking at 60,000 or so more at this point in the year, contributing than we had in the prior year. But there's also going to be some pieces of equipment. I think you're going to have to get a steamer, right? That's when it's leaking water. It's going to have to be, there are going to be some equipment purchases that either through those grants that the state sends out, if she can apply for some of those and get them, that would be great. But if not, those are probably going to be some expenditures that.
How much is a steamer?
A lot. 23,000, I think was.
And which school is it that needs that? And what other, you said there were a couple pieces of equipment you needed.
An oven up at East Hardy High School.
How much are they?
Yeah. I think it's only one oven, so it would probably be about 10 to 12,000. But if we can get some grants, then that will help us out. So I know the grant application just came out today, so we can take a look at that.
I saw on the list where there was one that they, my goodness, it sounded like from the invoices, they were practically rebuilding the thing. An oven, I forget whose it was, do you remember?
It may have been East Hardy High, I'm not sure. I know they've been there a couple times.
Okay.
So the insurance is still, they're saying 16% increase. After saying that.
And assuming that they will continue to give us the allocation based off of what our employees actually have on the certified list. Which is why.
The governor budgeted for that.
Okay.
Now, the dental and vision, how much is that, 100?
It's running right around 100,000. And in the next couple of months, I'll try to get another one of those reports to see how the usage and,
What the usage of it is.
yeah, maybe by the next we'll have our budget retreat for, is that May? April? It's not April, right? May?
Usually May.
Is it May? I thought it was May. Try to have that together.
That's right.
I think it's May. May. Get that together for that. And hopefully by then we'll also have the numbers out for the state aid and all of that stuff. Since this budget
We're
time.
always waiting.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we're in new business, and, the first item is approval of Panhandle 8 Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, attachment 9.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Panhandle 8 Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. Does anybody have any questions or discussion? One thing that came to my mind, we're buying meat from Teats, the hamburger from Teats, and I'm sure it's a quality product and stuff, but when I was reading this, it was saying that group purchasing organization only, that we have to buy from them. How are we bypassing that?
Well, a lot of the cooperatives, a lot of the counties in the cooperative work together and they do their own bids, like Gordon's. You know, we all work together and have a Gordon bid for the entire co-op, but we can go out on our own and do our own bidding. And we did do a bid with Lost River, and that was solely through Gordon County.
Okay, because that doesn't say this.
Yeah, I noticed that one
And they
as well.
could, I don't think that, I think we should change it,
Mhm.
because they could call this and say that you have to, I think we should change that contract. Because it's not saying that, and they could make us buy absolutely everything.
Mr. Farmer. Why they're not make that accommodation, because it says the only exception will be in case of emergency, which shall be defined in the ability of the successful bidder to provide needed items the week of service, comma, farm to school by West Virginia and any other legal mandates, because we have to buy, is it still 5%?
It's 5%, yeah, for the Fresh Food Act.
Fresh foods.
So
I
it would
think
fall
that
under the farm to
farm
school, but
piece
there
allows
are others that do that as well. And I believe whenever that was done, it was through like the main food vendor, because that's a contract it's been signed for like a few months, so I think it's the same contract. They just haven't changed the verbiage, but I believe they did add that farm to school part in there as well.
Yeah, I think that farm to school is what allows us to get it from the fresh.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well, as long as we don't get stuck and they say, oh, gee, they're gonna have to do this. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, and it's approved by vote. Next is, the approval, we're gonna look at the, Valley View Golf Club donation. It is, attachment 10. Do we have a motion so we can discuss it?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor, for discussion. They directed this to Sarah, and they put there who said the donation of $1,500 for the Valley View Golf Association, and I'm sure that we get that much value out of it.
Yeah, they, and I'll let Sarah elaborate, but they, I believe they sent an invoice.
They sent us an invoice, I think in January maybe, for this prior season. So I contacted them say, we can't really enter, after the service is provided, we can't really enter into agreement at that point. Because we don't have the funds allocated prior, like we're required to do and all of that stuff. So I just told them that if they would send it back as a donation, I could take that before the board, but we couldn't pay an actual invoice for a service that had been over with. So I think that's going to be their plan going forward, is to either enter into a contract with Hardy County Schools or the individual schools themselves for use of the golf course for the golf team. And when I talked to them earlier today about what they thought the amount would be going forward, the last email I got back from her said $2,500. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that and what kind of happened there.
How many times do we use it here?
Couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm not sure how often our golf,
You know,
Golf
this is pretty
practice.
well, golf team practices.
They practice daily.
Oh,
Actually in the season.
They're there every day.
They practice daily.
When's the season run? First at the beginning of any month.
I think it's
It starts
August
before-
sometime until
They have one practice every match, the next day in school, and then October.
Okay, so August.
Is that where East Hardy goes to?
Yes,
They'd have to, wouldn't
How many
Mhm.
students participate?
depends each year. I mean,
Hardy has a handful, and then 3 or 4, they had a state champion this year, actually.
Mhm.
And then they, Moorfield teams, are there 6 to 8 groups?
I think we had more than that this year. It was in this fall.
Okay, that's good.
Is it co-ed?
I think they let them, the team members play year-round free,
Yes,
that's
I
good.
They
would-
do.
which is a big deal. So they're defensive. I'm in favor of it, but that's me.
Okay, any further discussion? We'll prepare to vote on the approval of the Valley View Golf Club donation of $1,500 for 2024, right?
Now, is this a donation or is this?
No, it's a
Green
donation. They can't
Right.
bill
We
us
can't
now,
do
this
that.
is just a donation that we're agreeing to make as Hardy County
And
Schools,
this
just
is
like you do the
for-
library or the
Right.
WV
This
extension.
is for 1 year only.
This year that's just passed.
This was passed.
So in the future, are we going to, who knows what we're going to do?
So in the
We'll-
future, the first thing that they have to do is they have to give us something in writing telling us what that'll be. We have to agree to it. And then we'll have to decide if Hardy County Schools is going to continue to pay that, or if that's something that the schools would have to split and cover on their own. And that's an item for a future agenda once we get that in writing, stating what it would be. You guys would have to decide if you want to keep doing it or if you want to have the golf teams responsible for it. But we have an idea, but I think we probably should have that in writing from them first, because we had heard different amounts. We had at one point it was $5,000 they were asking for, and I think until we get an actual proposal from them, then we can bring that and show it to you guys, and then we can discuss how we want to pay it.
I think they're asking everybody for money now. I mean, they've been, the commission asking them for money. And they get a big tax break because they don't pay property taxes. So they're not getting any revenue from that tax base that they would normally be paying. I mean, it's a good idea, it's just,
Yeah, I think we can get something in writing from them, establishing what we get for the amount we're paying, and, are they going to continue to allow the golfers to golf at no cost? And I think having it in writing is really important before we make any decisions.
yeah. Better than after the fact.
Yeah, Sarah was pretty quick to tell them we were paying a bill that we didn't know about, so they have
Not
not
getting
charged us at
corresponding.
all. So she stopped that one right away.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is for next year?
Spicy.
Or the year past?
This is.
This right here is
Good
for this
way.
year that's already over, this current school year, the 24-25 school year. We don't have anything in writing from them for next year yet. So we would need that well before August.
Would someone notify them that that's what they need to do?
Yes, they're aware.
Yeah, I've been talking to them. told them about it.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and it's approved 5-0. Okay, next is the annual memorandum of agreement, the employment of extension personnel. It is attachment 11 in our packet, and last year we paid $9,000, and they are requesting us to pay $11,500 as a salary enhancement this year. So it'd be 25 over, $2,500 more dollars that they want. Then it's because they have the extra extensionation. So
Motion to approve.
Second.
have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Are those motions in second, is that for the 11.5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and it's approved by vote. It just keeps creeping up, doesn't it? And it's, I mean, this is something that would be wonderful for an excess levy. Yes. To support that, with that, because they do keep asking, and of course, WVU, they still claim them, but they sure don't support.
And I don't
They
actually,
divorced them.
I don't think that with an excess levy, I don't believe you can add in anything that goes to a different organization. I think that would be something
Has to
we
be
would be able to
specified.
tack on.
Yeah, that's not good.
It has to be a separate thing that they would do on their own.
Okay. Next up is attachment 11, the approval of proposed levy rates. Sarah, you wanna address that for us?
I forgot my sheet for that. It's
Yeah.
probably sitting on my, thank you.
Have a motion and a second on the floor to approve.
Same format as every year based on the values that the assessor brings and drops off. I think the only change, the allowance for the assessor's valuation fund went, I think, from 1.9 to 1.82, which you see there. That's different by county. I think it can go up to 2%. But otherwise, we have the one just on the regular excess, well, not excess levy, but our current expense levy that we lay, and then also for the bond. And that's set by the Municipal Bond Commission, so those numbers come directly from them as to what has to be paid in towards our bond payments.
You need that for the other attachment too. The next one.
The bottom numbers are under the week.
Sarah, you
What'd
had a
you say,
question?
sorry?
The bottom numbers is what we were collecting, 100%.
Yes, proposed to collect. Which, knock on wood, we usually collect a little bit above that each year. Just because we make the estimate of 5% for those that are either tax abatement or, that won't be collected, and down through that calculation, so.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and it's approved by vote. And the next is Sarah's a popular young woman this season. We need to a certain fiscal condition. It's attachment 13. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, we don't have to approve it. She's just asserting it. I'm sorry.
Just information.
Just information. I used the expenditure by object report for February that we just looked at a few minutes ago and inserted an extra column to do the fiscal condition. Assuming that all encumbrances are accurate and legit, I did an estimate based on how much for substitutes and temporary employees and all of those we have done up to this date, well, through February, the end of February, and then estimated that based on the next couple of months that are remaining in the school year to get those amounts that show there in that fiscal condition column. And then did the Social Security and Medicare expenses on that in the next section there, and then followed on down. The last line there is the transfers that will happen. All of those funds are required to be transferred over by the state, so that expense will move over as an actual expense there, which leaves us, assuming that all of the encumbrances are accurate, assuming that we will collect what we've estimated that we will collect for the remaining of the year, that would leave us at around 1.2 million as a fund balance. Now, usually, some of those encumbrances we end up not using the full amounts, or, we kind of padded them a little bit or tried to, give us a cushion there. So hopefully it ends up being a little bit more than that, but.
Does that 1.2 include the money for the doors? So that'll come out of this 1.2.
It'll come out of that.
The 500,000 for the roof.
Well, we paid some of it.
Right.
Yeah, we paid some of it, not the full, but yeah.
And 100,000 for the door project.
Yep.
And 200 for the lights. That'll come out of
Yeah.
that also.
So we're down to about
800,000.
800,000 now.
Mhm.
The number of employees were over. The ballpark figure what that'll cost next year.
It'll cost over $500,000 easily. The formula is, it's as convoluted as it is. The state has it set up pretty accurate that if you stay within the number that they say that you can employ, you're doing pretty good. The hard part is to stay within that when they continue to make regulations and rules that you have to follow with, either the number of students in the classes or, all of those additional requirements that they make, which they don't give any adjustment for.
No, that's gonna be a little tougher, but you still have to have the money to pay all those bills when they come.
Right. But being, staying as close as we can possibly stay realistically, and I think we're trying to do that.
Sounds like it's important that we do.
Yeah.
We're talking $500,000 there, that we're not reimbursed any for.
Right. None for that.
So there's gonna have to be some tough decisions made. Unless we win the lottery or
Get a boost in enrollment,
what it be, absolute.
extra 100 kids somewhere.
Play to win, so we're in trouble there. It's gonna be tough. Or we'll be down to no access, and hopefully not red numbers, but it could very possibly be.
Thanks, Sarah.
So, the next item is the approval of the Moorfield High School soccer proposal, attachment 14.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor to approve the proposal. Did you want to speak to it?
And I have a letter here from our Visitors Association in support. Also have some students here, future students, and some parents that came as well to support it. And just to help us support our students who are coming from the Potomac Highlands Soccer League up. They don't really have a way to continue competing. We also have a lot of students that play at Brighton Park on Sundays with their families because it's part of their cultural heritage. And those students might not be willing to go out and play any other sport because it's not their national sport. And so this would give them the opportunity to play a competitive sport and be recognized for their achievements rather than just at the park on Sundays, which is a great experience, but not exactly the same as some of our other students have.
I think we've been moving toward this for several years and with the youth soccer leagues and, so, does anybody have any I read in this that it says that they plan to have the teams coached by Jessica Markwood and Megan Mace. We would have to advertise those
Absolutely.
positions, wouldn't we?
Yes, I think that's probably there because they had to make sure that they had somebody willing to apply for the positions before we could post them, just so that they knew they had someone.
Okay.
We would have to post, and Mrs. Markwood's a central office employee, so we don't have a policy against that, but we need to discuss that too, because I don't think we've ever had anybody at the central office
Coach.
in a coaching position. And I told her that we would discuss that and figure that piece of it out too, but,
Well, and we need to see what their salary's gonna be.
yeah, they would fit into, the other similar season sports on that scale. You're right, we would have to adjust that and
And
add
add
those
that
into it.
into that,
Yeah.
into
And
that.
so that their salaries would fall upon the board.
Yes, and I think, are we correct that we had somebody willing to pay that the first year?
I don't know that we have someone willing to pay up for the first year. When I was in Grant County, the first 3 years were unpaid whenever they added the sport, but I do not know if that's something that Grant County
I was-
can support.
I was thinking that Pilgrims at some point offered some, funding for that, but we'll follow up on that piece too, yeah.
I don't think we don't pay for it the first year, do we?
Not the first year, we don't.
I think it's in our policy that we don't pay the first year.
Yeah, I think it has to be picked up by someone else, and I believe that there was some office funding, but we'll have to check that, it's been a while. So practices would be at Brighton Park, and then, do you have any idea about where we would play once? I see the first year is gonna be away, which I think is a great idea, but would that be at Brighton Park as well?
Probably not.
Okay.
When I met with their board, they had some concerns about traffic in and out and trying to keep that still a very low-key, laid-back area.
Okay,
So we would have to spend this next year solidifying a competitive field.
can the football field be used for that?
I don't know that our football field can be used for that, but the football practice field at MMS
Might be.
potentially could be.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
Or, you list grades 9 through 11. What about seniors?
Well, right now, we polled just our 9th through 11th grade students. We didn't do an interest survey for our seniors because they're graduating.
But in the future,
Yes, they would be
they
included
would
too.
still be included?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I didn't want them to,
No, they're not
We just
left out
didn't
at
poll
all. We just didn't poll, well, it was whoever wanted to sign up and none of our seniors came to sign up to show interest.
okay.
Because hopefully they won't be here.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
For my own little brain, I wanted to make sure. Would there be locker facilities available for these teams?
They would not have locker facilities, much like the track team doesn't have locker facilities exactly. I know a lot of places that our kids have to go play, they don't have a locker facility on that facility.
So the kids would go to an away game, they would go already in uniform?
Yes, they would have to go in uniform.
Well, even for home games, if the game is right after school, where will they change?
We wouldn't have home games the first year.
Right, but hopefully this program will grow
Hopefully,
and you will have home games.
yes,
and-
eventually, hopefully, we will be able to have home games. And then we would have to solve that problem.
Cross that bridge, okay.
When is the season, what time?
It is in the fall. It's consecutive season with football and volleyball.
So the indoor basketball locker rooms would be a place that
They
they
would
could
be
use if they
used.
needed to change.
Yes, they should be available.
Are you boys gonna play? I'm assuming that's why you're here.
What grade are you now?
7.
And you play in the youth league?
Yeah.
I wish you luck.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the proposal for school year 2025-2026 for soccer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and it's approved by that. I hope one of you all is the new Pele. That will be exciting.
Tell us your names again so we know who to listen for.
We'll see. Jake Baldwin.
Say it loud.
We'll see. Jake Baldwin.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Okay, the next item of business is approval of the use of facilities policy, KBE, for first reading.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. They've added in the Moorfield Elementary School exterior gym.
Okay, that's the difference.
And the, everything that's italicized is what's new. In the launch pad building and outdoor space and bathrooms, the
Right.
CTE food trailer also at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, are you all ready to vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And it's approved by that. Next item is board member and members and superintendent discussion. No action may be taken.
I don't have anything big to share over the last week with you guys, so if you have anything for me. Never mind, I do.
I do also.
Thank you, Sean. Go ahead, Ms. Rose. Go ahead,
Oh.
yes, ma'am.
The roof on the concession stand here, is that being replaced, repaired?
The boosters take care of the roof on the concession stand here in East Hardy.
Right,
They were working on it at the end of last year. Honestly, I haven't heard from anybody about it this year, but I know they had purchased some, materials to work on it. But I haven't had an update this year from anybody.
okay, I had someone tell me yesterday that, someone who works at Pilgrims, told me that Pilgrims was working on the roof,
Oh, okay.
the team from Pilgrims. I just wondered if anybody knew if that was the case.
I have not heard that. I know that they, purchased a bunch of material last year and our crew was gonna help them do that. And then our folks that worked on that type of construction projects were no longer with us, so we weren't able to help them finish that, and they were gonna work on getting somebody to do it. So maybe they got the team from Pilgrims there.
And
Maintenance
Mr.
crew maybe to
CB,
work on
It hasn't started yet.
Okay,
I
yeah,
was just down there the other day.
no work being done.
okay, do you know anything about a Pilgrims crew doing it? Okay.
And I have not heard that. I can find out for you though, for sure.
When we have someone who is not Hardy County School employee doing that kind of work, are they covered for liability by us or by their employer?
Well, it's a great question. We would typically, if we're not paying them, we do ask for a copy of their liability insurance. I'm looking for Sarah. But I don't remember the last time we had that happen. The work that we've had done on that the boosters is having done at the track, we've received I guess that would be the best example for that would be, we have had the boosters gather the liability insurance piece. Because they're paying for it, they're responsible for the business license side and that end of it, but we've gotten liability insurance proof. So I'm sure that Pilgrims would be able to provide us with their liability coverage on their end.
Yeah. I just hope someone doesn't fall off the roof.
Oh, that would be bad. I will try to, I'll try to get in touch with the boosters at East Hardy and see if I can find out. The thing that I'm passing around is the lawn care and landscaping service agreement. This would be the contract that our new contractors doing our lawn care would be signing. And so it's a little bit lengthy, but I believe Mr. Staggers helped to develop this to make sure that it checked all of the legal boxes. We've been putting him to work here lately these last few weeks. But if you have any questions, we thought maybe if you guys could let us know in the next couple of days, just email, or if you want anything, you can email Oren directly and just let him know if you have questions or any changes that you think need to be made, because I know it's a lot to sit here and read. But we wanted to give you a copy of it, and we won't send that back. We'll wait until Wednesday. So we'll try to get it out to those folks on Wednesday midday, but between now and then, if you have anything you want changed, if you reach out to him directly, that would be great.
I appreciate having this.
Yeah, that's.
I really do. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Oh, and then I also will give you the updated school visits. I know this is under future agenda items, but I'll just pass those around. And
That's
this has the updated times and locations of our remaining school visits.
okay.
Yeah, so that you would have a fresh copy of that. And I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any board members have anything? Okay, moving on, future agenda items, pro officers, we'll receive them, April 7th at the meeting. And the announcements, are before us. I won't read everyone unless you all think I should.
The only change that you needed on here, it has March 28th, the school visit for East Hardy Elementary. It has 9:30 to 11, but Mrs. Morris asked us to be here at 8. So if you would change that to 8 to 11. And it's changed correct on your list that I just gave you.
sheet there, I see.
East Hardy girls basketball had a very successful season. Did very well.
I noted that, Sean O'Callaghan had his 100th career win at the state tournament in wrestling, and that Jordan Teets passed his 1,000 career point milestone.
Did anybody go to the ham, bacon, and egg show? I bought some, but
I did.
how was it today?
It was very well attended. Prices were, if you think eggs are high.
Why are they here for $200?
Yeah. Go there and pay $50 an egg. No, the kids who exhibited and sold, I think, did very well. I'm pleased with what they were taking home. Good crowd, good meal,
Did you have a lot of buyers then?
a lot of buyers.
You were there.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 35 years
Yeah.
plus.
Thanks for a long time.
The golden rule used to be, if you're over 250 products, prices are gonna drop. We had 338 or something like that. So I was really surprised. Prices stayed up.
I didn't think anything dropped.
No, the prices did
it's-
drop. I mean, if
oh,
you
did
did the
they?
math, probably the kids averaged $20 a pound for everything.
Who had the grand champion ham and bacon?
Bacon ham was from Petersburg. Bacon, I I think we're Petersburg golf.
I think that was all Peter's.
Wonder what they bought a pound, any idea?
Wasn't that,
The one here was $900
yeah,
dollars.
they started selling it by the product, not by the pound. So if you are buying it, you know exactly what it costs you. You don't have to sit there and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's $5 a pound times 23.8 pounds, whatever.
I know he was trying to get 1,000 for that prime ham.
Yeah, it didn't do
Didn't
it.
quite make it, it was 900.
Yeah, the
Somewhere,
kids did really well.
but yeah, they did well.
I know one student got approximately $2,500, so, I mean, total.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, because, you know, they got expenses, but, they just need to hopefully remember that's not real world agriculture. I wish it
That's a
was.
good point.
I'm impressed with the organization, how efficiently they move
They
the
work really well
things
together.
through there.
Who was your auctioneer?
And-
Tyler Bradford and Michael Thomas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kids, there weren't one kid not in official dress, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty biased. FFA official dress, I think looks really
That's
sharp.
impressive.
Oh, yeah, that's one time when they really need to have it on.
And DECA, I think did really well at their last competition. We've got a robotics crew getting ready to go to the nationals in Houston. And there's one more crew that I was wanting to reference.
Elizabeth Williams was elected as state officer in,
DECA.
I think it was, yes.
Yes. And East Hardy had a state officer in FBLA. And also congratulations to all the Mooresville High School who did their National Honor Society inductions. And they had quite a few kids that were recognized for that. So that was,
54.
yeah, that was
I
awesome
went
as
to
well.
that. 54
So it was really.
new inductees. Very, very nice.
You know, at one time, they had I don't know if it's still there, they had like a plaque. And I tried to get Miss Wilking because I was in the honor society too. I wanted my name put up, but it kind of fell through. It was a shame they couldn't keep up with that, but they had like a wooden, you know, but that was back in like the 60s, but she didn't keep very good records, God bless her soul.
The robotics, I will say, are really working how to raise money. They were about to have middle school Saturday and Sunday, or, yeah, Saturday and Sunday at the ball games, the youth league games. And I hope they did well. I don't know. That's a good food. I know I bought a bunch. It's good.
Adam Sherman told me that they plan to do, in addition to this weekend's bake sales, some other things, maybe another pancake meal or something. So if you see it advertised, support those kids.
Yeah.
We're just right in the check.
And DECA's doing breakfast tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities to support.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on to personnel. Do we need an executive session for anything?
Yes, I need to discuss some personnel matters with you in executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to go into executive session.
Your uncle, Danny,
Yes.
Thank you all.
when I went to Boise State, he was my counselor.
Was he really?
Asking if he remembers the portrait that his guy just picked up on
Get it right or wrong.
Huh?
He's there like this. I had a cassette
That's it. I didn't
Okay.
know.
I'll go open the door.
Kendra, she takes a lot of,
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion to come out of executive session. Is there a second?
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Come out of executive session with no action taken. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're approved 5-0.
All right, I recommend the approval of the personnel actions as presented for March 17th, 2025.
Motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the recommended personnel actions of March 17th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
And they're approved 5-0.
Motion to adjourn.
No adjournment, no adjournment today.
Okay,
We gotta stay in.
withdraw my motion.
Fiscal-
I have to do a sentence.
special thing. Royce,
It's the April.
thanks for that.
Oh, okay, I was looking at that. We'll stand adjourned until the third Tuesday in April, which is April 15th, 2025.
Have a good evening.
That's our next meeting? Is that our next meeting?
No,
No,
No.
this one just holds over to them because of the.
It's 11.
it's 11, so.
Till